Hi everyone, I'm Natalie, aka the Vegan Veteran, using a bit of a different format this week because there's some things I want to show you on the computer. So I'm using this sort of video screen capture software thing, which has been a bit of a learning curve. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll be all right. And yeah, feel free to give me pointers if you have experience with this stuff and you know where I'm going wrong. So yeah, let's see how this goes. So instead of seeing my mug, I've put a picture of my bunnies on the front. So that's Bugsy at the front and Tallulah at the back. I think it's a good swap. I'd rather see rabbits, but anyway. So it's quite apt because this week we're going to be talking about products that are not only vegan but cruelty free, so i.e. Free from animal testing. So there's a bit of a bunny theme throughout, really. So the reason for this video, as mentioned in previous weeks, I think it's necessary to have this as a reference point so that I can do future videos on sort of vegan toiletries and cosmetics and give you guys as much information as possible about what the sort of standards, various standards mean and what different products are adhering to. And really, I think this can be quite a hard world to navigate, so I've tried to simplify as much as possible. And I think a lot of the difficulty here is, you know, there's something about, if you go into a supermarket, for example, nowadays there's a lot of information, I suppose, not only because of the vegan and vegetarian movement, but also allergens. And also, I know there are E numbers and some strange ingredients in food that you might not necessarily recognise, but with a lot of foods, you're going to know what's in them. It's going to be quite clear whether they're vegan or not. I think that's more difficult with cosmetics and toiletries. And actually, in terms of perfumes, it's not even a legal requirement for perfume manufacturers to have to write all the ingredients on their bottles because some of the quantities are kind of parts per million. They couldn't really hope to list all of their ingredients. So it's a bit of a minefield, really. The other thing is that I think with the vegan movement, companies are coming out and saying that their products are vegan because those products are free from animal ingredients. However, they're not necessarily free from animal testing. In my mind, I don't think something should be labelled as vegan if it's free from animal testing, but I guess those definitions are open to interpretation. So there are some organisations that provide logos that can help, and I'm going to go through each of those logos in turn in this video. I've tried to make it as international as possible, but I have talked about logos that I am aware of, and then I fully expect there will be others that I haven't come across. So if you are in other parts of the world in particular and you are familiar with other logos that I haven't mentioned, please do comment. I'm sure others would find that helpful. And there are a couple of UK and EU specific points at the end of this video, but like I said, as much as possible I've tried to keep it general. So the first logo that I want to talk to you guys about is the Cruelty Free International logo, which is this leaping bunny that you can see on the right hand side here. Now, you may have heard of Cruelty Free under their previous name, which is BUAV, and that's the British Union for the Abolition of Vivisection. And as the name change kind of suggests, the BUAV became Cruelty Free International back in 2012, and that was really because they wanted to take their campaign international. They still have all the same ethics, they still have the same reason for being, but they wanted to broaden things out, I guess. So products that have this leaping bunny symbol are free from animal testing. Not only the final product is free from animal testing, but also the ingredients. However, it doesn't tell us whether a product's vegan or not, but it does give us assurance that it's free from animal testing. The great thing about Cruelty Free International is they do seem to have quite a stringent audit process, and they also have a product search page, which is down here somewhere, just here. So you can locate products via that search page, and it might be that you know, the leaping bunny hasn't appeared on a particular product yet because it hasn't made it onto their sort of manufacturing plant, but you can sort of search that page to find the most up-to-date products. There's a cost for companies to have the leaping bunny logo, as with all of these logos. I think that's annual, and reading their web page, it sounds like the cost varies kind of depending on how big the company is and other factors, but I'm not too sure exactly what it costs organisations to have that logo. So that's the first logo I wanted to talk to you about. The second logo is PETA, so it's the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animal organisation, which I guess is quite a well-known organisation, possibly the most well-known of the three I'm going to talk about. They have this series of logos. Now, personally, I've not seen these top two. I don't know whether they're international, and perhaps the ones at the bottom are European or UK. But I guess all four are used somewhere in the world. So I'm familiar with these bottom two, the Cruelty Free and the Cruelty Free and Vegan, although I think the Cruelty Free and Vegan is a more recent addition. I've not seen that so much. And this is under PETA's Beauty Without Bunnies campaigns. And to join this, companies have to go through a application process. So they complete a questionnaire, they sign a statement of assurance, and they pay a one-off fee. It doesn't sound though like it involves any kind of audit process. It's just kind of based on the company promising. So, you know, I don't think it's as stringent as the Cruelty Free International logo, but if it has this Cruelty Free and Vegan, then you do have some confidence that the product is vegan, whereas you don't have that with Cruelty Free International. The third logo that I want to talk to you about is the Vegan Society logo, which is this kind of vegan text with a sunflower growing out of it. And this is used to highlight products that are free from animal ingredients and actually aren't tested on animals as well. There's an application process again that the companies have to go through, and in return for that they promote the products of those companies through magazines, and the logo is assigned to sort of individual products rather than the whole company. So you may have, so for example, Lush, as an example, they use the Vegan Society logo quite a lot, but some of their products have honey in. So individual products that don't have honey in will be marked with the Vegan Society logo, but the company as a whole is not listed as vegan. So it does kind of allow for that. So there's a bit here about how to apply. So you can go through this application process. From what I've seen, the wording on the website suggests that audits are carried out, and they've said where there is a high risk of cross-contamination. So what I'm assuming that means is that there isn't necessarily always an audit process. But what I'll do, when I post this, perhaps when I post this on Twitter, I might try and tag the Vegan Society in to see if they have any comment on that. I don't want to sort of misrepresent what they do, but yeah, I'm not sure that they audit absolutely everyone. So I think in some cases this is something they check up on, and in some cases it's kind of it's kind of, you know, done based on what the company's told them. But they do seem to look at this every year. Actually, there's a bit on audit just down here. Let me just double check that. So yeah, so it says here, your officer will then set up your account and bin checking your application forms. So provide you with initial queries relating to your product. All raw materials will be checked and signed off. I don't know whether that means, you know, how do they check for whether the final product is tested on animals? We'll try to ask some questions on that one, but I'll follow up on that. So to try and make this as easy to understand as possible, I've produced this summary table of the 3 companies that I've discussed. So at the top is Cruelty Free International. So as I said, the Leaping Bunny logo, it doesn't necessarily mean that the product's vegan, but it does mean that it's free from animal testing. None of the ingredients are going to be tested on animals, and actually on their website, CFI also say that they will highlight where a parent company tests on animals, which is really great to know. And they seem to have quite a stringent audit process. The PETA logos can be used to denote where a product's vegan if this right hand side cruelty free and vegan bunny is used, and they do say that those products are then free from animal testing. But as far as I can tell, there isn't an audit process. It is, you know, based on the word of the company in question. And finally, you have the Vegan Society, which does mean that the product's vegan. It's not going to be tested on animals. There seems to be an audit process, but I'm a little bit unclear on whether that audit is always done or whether it's just certain companies. So hopefully that's made things a bit easier for you guys to understand. I think that, as with a lot of things with being vegan, there is a degree of understanding what you're comfortable with and what you're not. So as I was kind of saying, you know, all of these logos come with a cost. So in an ideal world, as a vegan consumer, I'm going to be really comfortable with using a product if it has not only the Cruelty Free International Leaping Bunny, but also the Vegan Society logo or even the PETA logo. So if it has 2 of those 3, that would be really good for me. But because companies have to pay for them, that's not really likely that they're going to have all of them. For me personally, it's probably enough that they have the Cruelty Free International logo and then have some statement that says our product is free from animal ingredients. But it's down to the individual. So you just have to kind of work out for yourself what you're happy with, I guess. But as I said at the beginning, when I'm going through other products, I'll refer back to kind of make it clear what logos have been awarded to different products so that you can understand and make the decision for yourselves. Now there's a couple of UK specific or UK and EU specific points here. So one is that back in 2013, animal testing on products that sold in the EU was actually banned for cosmetics. So there is a question mark for some people as whether the Cruelty Free International logo is still needed. I'll post all of the links to the websites that I'm looking at in this video in the notes, so you can take a look for yourselves. But this particular article is from Cruelty Free International, kind of addressing that point. I'm not going to go through all of the detail, but I guess the important things I think to highlight, and they say it down here at the bottom, is that, you know, although this is a really great thing, the Leaping Bunny ban does go beyond basic EU regulation. And, you know, I think that the EU laws are kind of open to interpretation. So personally, I still want to see that Leaping Bunny logo as much as possible on the products that I'm using. The other thing is that companies that have that logo, are selling in the EU, may be selling products that are tested on animals elsewhere in the world, so for example China. So for me personally, I still want to see that logo as much as possible. The other point is that, and this RSPCA article talks about this a little bit, what I don't think anyone's clear on yet is what Brexit means for all of this. Because at the moment, as it says here, 80% of current animal welfare legislation comes from the EU. So I think, you know, you could, I suppose if you're a glass half full kind of person, you could see Brexit as being an opportunity to make animal welfare legislation better. But what the RSPCA, you know, are recognising here is that there is a risk that Brexit could mean that animal welfare legislation gets worse. So that's something that I guess we need to keep an eye on and campaign on. And I'll try to kind of post things about this as and when things change. But I think going forward, you know, these logos could become even more important. And we just all need to be aware of what that means. So I really hope that this video has helped you to understand a little bit more and demystify, I guess, the world of vegan and cruelty-free cosmetics and toiletries. I think that the next video I'll do as a follow-on to this will be on vegan hair care, so I can talk about shampoos and conditioners and sort of styling products and things, vegan hairdressers, etc. So I'll do that soon, but please do comment on what you'd like to see. As always, share, subscribe, like this video. It really helps in terms of getting the content out. And yeah, thanks for listening. I will see you soon, and stay safe with all the COVID stuff. Thanks everyone. Bye.